So one destination that's seen incredible growth in terms of air traffic, tourism, and of course is incredibly reliant on it is Zanzibar, being an island destination. It's absolutely everything, and we've seen that already from what Tim's talked about. You know, there are different ways of bringing tourists in, but here, yes, you've got the ferries, but the majority are coming in by air. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand the floor to Arif Abbas Manji, who is the Executive Secretary of the Zanzibar Commission for Tourism. He's going to outline the opportunity here and also the lofty ambitions. They have a long time horizon, but they're incredibly fast growth, incredibly ambitious. And also he's going to talk about how ZCT works in tandem with its airport company. So we're going to hear the first kind of case study of how they work together. This is the personification of it, right? We're here at Aviadev with the two parties. So as Arif comes up, we're going to play a video and then over to Arif. So join me.
I would like to share a small story before I start. As a child, I would always have dreams of flying. I'm sure that we all had those, whereby sometimes you want to be a pilot, sometimes you want to be Superman, sometimes you just have dreams of flying. But then as I grew up, I started going to school, I started becoming a teenager, and started to explore my beautiful island of Zanzibar. I saw that there is a huge potential in terms of tourism. So I built a passion in tourism. Later on in life, I went on and by academics, I became an economist. So I would like to thank you all again, because in this one room right now, I can see my dreams and my passion and my academics and my profession all in one room. So thank you very much for being here today. I'm Arif Abbas Manji. I am the Executive Secretary from the Commission of Tourism Zanzibar. And we basically have the mandate to promote Zanzibar as a tourism destination, to regulate the sector, which means we give the licenses to the hotels, the tour operators, the tour guides, spas, etc., etc. But we also have a mandate to develop the sector, meaning to increase in terms of infrastructure, in terms of arrivals, and so on. We will see that as we go forward. John started by saying that this session should be very, very calm and interactive. I will leave about 30 seconds for you to read this, and then I'll ask some questions at the end of the session. This is just a small background of Zanzibar Commission for Tourism and what we do, and of course, the impact of the tourism sector in the GDP of Zanzibar. So 30 seconds for this. I think we've all read it. I'm sure that it's less than 30 seconds. I had a session for 20 minutes slots, but we started late, unfortunately. It's totally my fault. I'm very sorry, John. It was my fault. So I will try and make this as short and brief as possible, just to share the message across. So basically, the core functions of the Commission for Tourism is to regulate, as I said, from the hotels, the food and beverage restaurants, the tour operators, tour guides, the recreational activities, meaning the water sports, etc., etc. To market the destination regionally, domestically, and internationally as well. We've started with a few campaigns here in Tanzania, in East Africa as well, and also we've been going to a few tourism fairs in different countries in the world. But now we want to go a bit more aggressive on that. I will share some insights with you in the next few slides, but also to develop the sector, as I mentioned, in terms of investments, the infrastructure, and the products. We all know, or we all think Zanzibar is a destination for sun, sand, and sea. Because if you hear of Zanzibar, the first thing that comes to your mind is the beach. Of course, it's the sunsets and the oceans. But I think that the video that I played initially just shows that there is so much more to Zanzibar than just the sun, sand, and sea. We have a lot of heritage. We have over 86 heritage sites in Zanzibar. I'm sure that a lot of us did not know this. But also right now it's growing as a destination for sports tourism. Just a few weeks ago, we had the finals of the CAF Confederation Cup, which was here in Zanzibar. In 2027, we're expecting to have the AFCON, which is going to be played in East Africa, but some of the matches will also be played in Zanzibar. So right now, the government is focused heavily in terms of investing in the right infrastructure to make sure that we can accommodate this. As a ZCT, what are the goals that we have for the tourism sector? Of course, the first one is sustainability. We've seen that there are a lot of destinations right now in different parts of the world whereby they went so fast with mass tourism and they didn't see the impact that it has to the environment, to the food security, and also to the local skills. We've seen that Zanzibaris are actually people who want to tap into the tourism sector. We need to make sure that from the tourism sector, the beneficiaries are first the Zanzibaris. Of course, we welcome the foreigners to come in and to share the skill sets, but of course, it should be to build the capacity of the people of Zanzibar. The environment is the most important thing. We can see that there are some ghost towns right now in the world whereby they used to be very famous in terms of tourism, but now they're just dead ghost towns. And this is something that we don't want to have in Zanzibar. This is our main sector that is contributing to the economy of Zanzibar. If the tourism sector falls, so does Zanzibar, at least for now. We're trying to get into other sectors, such as the blue economy, etc. But for now, we are fully dependent on the tourism sector. So we need to make sure that we are very sustainable in terms of the environment, the skill sets, and the food security as well. However, we want to also increase the arrivals in terms of tourism. I will speak more on tourism data, and the Zanzibar Airports Authority can come and speak more in terms of arrivals and the airports, etc., etc. As of last year, we had 736,000 arrivals. These are foreign tourists that came to Zanzibar. And this has been over 100% increase from the year 2020. So we've seen that there is significant growth and steady growth as well. And the target that we have as ZCT is to reach at least 1 million by the end of 2025. It's a target that is very aggressive, but it's a target that we believe we can achieve. If you take into account all the work and the initiatives that we want to start, and by all the people that are here today in this room, I do believe that it's a target that we can achieve together. Second thing is that we want to increase our focus in regional tourism. We can see that currently, as of 2024, the arrivals from Kenya were about 23,000. The arrivals from South Africa were about 27,000. We do believe that it's a big market in Africa. Why would somebody go so far away while there is Zanzibar, which is just a few hours away? So we want to focus more into the African market, see how we can maximize from it. Of course, to increase expenditure, we just do not want the numbers. We want the right numbers that are going to come to Zanzibar and spend money as well and to contribute to the economy. As of last year, the average expenditure was about $251 US per night per person, which is very low if you compare it to the other destinations such as Seychelles and Maldives and Mauritius. So we are trying to invest from the private sector, but also from the government, to make sure that we have more activities to do in Zanzibar. And once somebody comes to Zanzibar, they can actually stay for longer. Right now, we have an average of 7 nights per tourist. We want to bring that up to 9 nights by the year 2027. Again, we've started to invest into all these other activities that are nature-based, that are not like nature-based as well. We want to get into theme parks, we want to get into aquariums. We want to make sure that the tourist that is coming to Zanzibar has a reason to stay in Zanzibar for a longer period and not just come and like relax at the beach and sunbathe for a few nights and then go back. Improve local content is something that we want to seriously have our focus on. We have 70% of the population of Zanzibar is between the age of 16 to 24, and they're all dependent on the tourism sector. We do believe that with the influx of investments and the influx of tourism in Zanzibar, they can all have a piece of the cake. And it is instrumental to make sure that the local content is considered to ensure sustainability of the sector and also business for us all in this room today. Tim spoke about some market intelligence, so this is just a brief of the situation in Zanzibar for the past 4 years. You can see that the number of one-star hotels has increased from 202 to 310. 2 stars from 15 to 55. We do quite understand that we had some issues with COVID at the year 2020. And of course, the recovery is different from hotel to hotel, depending on the market or focus. The 3 stars, 56 to 58, we can see that there was a slight drop in 2022. It doesn't mean that the hotel just vanished, no. It's just that they didn't come to the Zanzibar Commission for Tourism to take a license operational. So, of course, there were some factors because of COVID, but it is very stable right now. The 4 stars from 20 to 31, and the 5-star hotels from 36 to 48. I was with a few stakeholders just last night, and then they were asking me, do you guys have the product for me to start a route to come to Zanzibar? And he was thinking that we have a maximum of 5 to 6 5-star resorts. We have over 830 accommodation providers in Zanzibar. Of course, like starting from AA grade, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. And this is just a brief of what Zanzibar has to offer for the market of tourism. Something else that I heard as well from Tim is that how ready is the government and the private entities to enhance the sector. So if you look at the hotels and resorts, from the year 2021 till 2024, there has been an investment of over $5 billion just in this industry, basically for the hotels, resorts, and the real estate as well. And the real estate isn't for the locals to live in. It's not like a housing scheme or some sort of project like that. It is more of family homes and holiday homes that people are coming in and they're buying. This is the investment that has only been there for 3 years. It is the largest investment that we've seen in a very long time in Zanzibar. But however, is that we started to introduce some new products. Again, Zanzibar is not just the sun, sand, and sea. Right now, as we are all inside this room right now, we can see that there is an increase of MICE tourism. We've had over 50 meetings and conferences in the year 2024. 2025, we're still looking for data, and we still have about 6 months to go. So it is a product that is growing. We have the heritage and cultural tourism. As I told you before, we have over 86 sites, and the culture of Zanzibar is basically the USP for Zanzibar. You've seen in the first video a bit of the culture of Zanzibar, a bit of the people of Zanzibar. I always say this to a lot of people, that the best selling point of Zanzibaris is their smiles. I'm sure that you've seen that like Biuba has a beautiful smile in her videos. I wouldn't say the same for me, but I'm sure that you all can be the judges to that. In terms of, yes, back to the products, sports tourism is something that I spoke about briefly as well, wellness tourism. Zanzibar is made out of 2 different islands. We have this, which is the main island. It's called Unguja, and we have the second island, which is Pemba. A lot of these hotels that I've just showed you are based in this main island, which is Unguja. And the next island, which is Pemba, is still untouched. And this is where we want to take our focus of like wellness tourism to the next islands, to have more of the eco-friendly vibe and resorts in the next island as well. But halal tourism is something that we want to tap into. 98% of the population of Zanzibaris are Muslim. If you look at the culture, historically, we had basically the Omanis here. So the best way to look into how to have a good integration of the people of Zanzibar with the tourism sector is to have such products such as the halal tourism. Zanzibar, by default, is halal, which means that you can easily go to any restaurant and the food is going to be halal, etc. There is mosques all over the island, so it is a product that we want to focus in as well for the halal markets. There are over 2 billion Muslims in the world, and this is a huge market that we should tap into as well. In terms of the infrastructure, I'm sure that you've seen the time that you landed into Zanzibar, that there's some renovations of the Terminal 2 airport. So this is set to be completed by December 2025. We also have some developments for Terminal 4 and the Nungwi airport as well. But I'm sure that you've seen that there's a lot of construction which is going on in the road network, so it's something that we want to achieve as well. The water and the electricity as well has been an issue, but now we have been setting a lot of infrastructures to make sure that these problems are solved. Skills development, as I said before, is something that we want to focus in very heavily, and because this is something of core interest, the government has actually moved the College of Tourism from the Ministry of Education to the Ministry of Tourism and Heritage, but also there is a number of private colleges that are coming into Zanzibar right now to set up shop. So we want to increase the skills of the Zanzibaris to make sure that they can tap and also cater into the gap which we are seeing right now in the tourism sector. We have the apprenticeships programs. This has been having a success rate of about 98%, so this is very good. And then we have NGOs such as the TUI Foundation that are coming in as well to develop the skills of the sector. The objectives are very straight and clear. By the year 2027, we want to reach tourist arrivals of about 2 million. Again, it's very aggressive, but it is something that we want to achieve, and I believe with all the key stakeholders in this room, it's something that we can achieve. The issues that we have been hearing from a lot of stakeholders is that the transit time to get to Zanzibar. Zanzibar is a brand which is accepted all over the world. The only issues that we have right now is the connectivity. Because then you speak to a lot of stakeholders, they're like, how do we get to Zanzibar? If I tell them that they need to go via, and then if you look at the decision-making process, it's a bit slower, they would rather go to somewhere they have a direct flight to, or somewhere that takes short flight hours. But also a proposal that I had for Seychelles, Mauritius, and Maldives is to have a circuit whereby all the Indian island ocean destinations could have a circuit whereby we could all start by complementing each other and not competing with each other. Airline benefits to start your route to Zanzibar, I just have 1 minute and 13 seconds, I'll try to go fast, is that the infrastructure that is currently available, but also the infrastructure that we're building. Also, it's a product extension. I've been speaking to some of the airlines yesterday, and they've been telling me that they just sell flight tickets and not holidays, but we can see that there is a huge opportunity in terms of holiday packages, but the marketing support as well. As the Commission for Tourism, we are ready to support all the airlines that are ready to start their route to come to Zanzibar. This is just some of the information. I'll skip this. I have 30 seconds. This is in terms of the marketing support that we're ready to support. In terms of the digital billboards, magazines, and newsletters, social media, and in-flight entertainment, tourism fairs, and exhibitions as well. Thank you very much. This is my details. That is my QR code. If you want to keep in touch, please scan it, and then we will touch base from there and see how we can start and develop this route together. Before I leave, I just have one last video to show you. And again, thank you very much for being here today, and I look forward in keeping in touch with you all. Asanteni sana.